What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. I'm gonna cut right to it. I have nothing to sell you, only offer you, like the Matrix, Morpheus, only offer you the truth, offer you a raw and authentic experience. But I am going to ask for help. Go ask for help. Ask for some help, even if it's just a like, a share. The algorithm definitely doesn't appreciate some of the things I talk about, but um, I'm beginning to get to a point of confidence of knowing that I have a quite a unique uh, life experience to share, a fun story that can it encompasses a lot of different things, starting with a near-death experience, which left me open to heightened sensory experiences most of my life, which nobody bothered to look into. My parents never bothered to figure out what happened. So it's been a mystery I've been trying to unravel, especially in the last decade or so of my life. The more I've become aware of some of how what happened on in my early life led to um, the curation of the person I was to come. And I think it's something a lot of us take for granted, especially those who have, well put together, grounded families. I do not. And that is not to be said for sympathy. None of this is. That's another big part of this is um, I want to be able to, because this isn't easy for me. This is very uncomfortable even asking for help, but I want to be able to be a vulnerable, open, honest voice, especially for men, my brothers out there who have experienced trauma and abuse, especially early on in life, at any point in life of any kind, um, but are afraid to talk about it because we're conditioned to that toxic masculinity. I've always been more tapped into my emotional, my feminine, intuitive nature, and that never sat well growing up. My dad always made fun of me, called me the F word, but he's a pretty broken person. Both my parents are and were. My mom passed away a couple years ago from a fentanyl overdose. Rest in peace, Mom. Love you. That's I've struggled with addiction also. I I turned to drugs very early on. Due to a lot of reasons, some of the early traumas in life, in my family, disarray, which you didn't recognize as disarray till later on in life, till certain things you don't realize how bad it is when you're in it, because that's all you know, that's your perspective, that's your experience. And in even the most abnormal can seem normal. Like if you've ever heard of Stockholm syndrome, not to compare what I went, my life to that, but just conceptually parallels. But oh yeah, sorry, yeah, one of the things, being born dead, near death experience at birth. Nobody looked into it. Was supposed to grow up to have massive or not massive brain damage, severe brain damage. My parents would say mentally retarded because that's what the doctor said back in the 90s. So I was supposed to grow up to be retarded, walk away mostly unscathed, I always say. Um, but it left me open to, again, heightened sensory activity and experiences of various kinds. Um, and I've had paranormal experiences since I was a kid. I've had dissociative experiences, out of body experiences, what I later discovered to be um, astral experiences as a kid. Um, Out of body, again, I didn't realize at the time this is what was going on. But I had a lot of memories start flooding back to me, starting maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago. Um, all around the time I smashed my head. I had a massive head trauma injury. So I'm born with brain damage. Uh, years of addiction, drug abuse, uh, just doing, just not treating myself well. Um, but I come to speak from a place of hope, because in the last few years of really trying to get clean, especially since my mom passed away, I've taken a lot of, I've really gone inward to dig to the root of my addictions and dredge up some of these traumas, which has been very difficult, but worth the experience. And I've had to figure it out a lot in my own ways, because I don't have a family to turn to. And again, that's not a woe is me thing. I don't want to have to preface me saying something. I've had a crazy life. Like so many have had it worse. It's not trying to compare suffering, but trying to get a greater message across and out there to people. And it just it's at the essence, at the heart of it, is the spiritual nature and necessity for our society and individual person, because we have a meaning of a crisis of meaning in our society, in American culture especially. And a lot of that is uh, they've rooted so people into the material, uh, the hell realm, so to speak, um, that people don't even believe in soul and spirit. So they're only getting half the picture at best, and that's just, there's a huge imbalance, and one of the many things I've learned in recent years. So I've had to turn inward, like I said, to figure out some of these things that nobody wanted to help me figure out, that happened to me. Nobody bothered to look into, which again, I'm grateful for it. Like I'm great. Like my mom told me before she died, like I told her I got diagnosed with ADHD. She apologized for how much her and my dad neglected me, especially in comparison to my sister. But thank God they didn't, uh, take me to the doctor very much as a kid and get me diagnosed with ADHD early in life and prescribed Adderall. Because like I'm now at a point in my life where I realize everything good and bad had to happen exactly the way it has to be right where I am now. And even though my life is far from perfect and where I want it to be, it's so much in such a greater place than I could have ever hoped for and imagined. And I've already succeeded beyond my wildest dreams, merely by getting to a place of genuinely having self-respect and self-love, which I didn't for most of my life. I didn't have hope for my life until about last year, which was my 30, I'm 34 now. But turning inward, I had to start looking into my, what I call, personal mythology. Looked up the meaning of my name. And people, I lose people here because people interpret this from their understanding, misunderstanding, or limited lens of what I'm about to say. Um, what my name translates to, and like, or the etymology of my name, I should say. Like, Christopher means Christ bearer. Fiato is Italian, and it means breath, but it comes from the Latin word spiritus. So my name translates to the spiritus or breath of the Christ bearer. And my middle name, I'll just say it means spacious fort. So not literally I am Jesus Christ, but to be someone that was so lost in opiate drug addiction, just self-hatred, self-destructive tendencies, and to get so desperate in the basement of rock bottom and being willing to say I don't know anything, like, and I'm willing, I surrender, like, help me, like, help me, I please help me find some answers. Like, even though I'm destroying myself, I want to live, and I feel like I'm supposed to live. I feel like whatever saved me at my birth, like my parents always told me, like I was here for some reason. They don't know how I survived or what happened or what saved me, but I felt I've always had something with me protecting me throughout life, because I've had many overdoses through being addicted to opiates since I was 16, and a slew of other substances. Um, I've actually died, uh, right there, in fact, um, and that was only a couple years ago. Uh, so realizing what my name means, and not only that, but someone told me I was never into, like, I'm open to all like occult esoteric stuff, but because the way I learn is so weird. My brain's it's a lot better than it used to be, thanks to binaural beats and actually like practicing and doing stuff like meditation. All that's still difficult for me, but um, sorry, my brain just shit its pants, dude. Where was I going? Fuck. Uh, oh yeah. Damn it, I forgot what I was saying. Well, anyways, yeah. Oh yeah. Someone told me that. Oh, they added up my numbers to figure out my life path number, which turns out to be 33 in numerology. I ended up looking into that. Typically, you reduce to a single digit, but in this case, in numerology, 11, 22, and 33 are considered master numbers. So I don't take any of this stuff, like I said in the beginning, few beliefs, but many growing suspicions. I don't say very many things definitively, but looking at the poetic side and the symbolic side of some of these things, my life past 33, my name translates to breath of the Christ bearer, spacious for the breath of the Christ bearer, Christ consciousness. I'm not into dogmatic religion, and I think people need to come to a point of understanding that we can develop a relationship with God and a higher power in our spiritual essence without needing to worship anybody or follow some other person's doctrine. We just need to come to a point of understanding of who and what we actually are. And this can happen in numerous ways, and strange, funny things will happen sometimes if you ask for help. And I guess in a weird way, I'm putting that to the test with this and intend to do that. But anytime once I've started praying, meditating, and taking the spiritual side of things seriously, I've already had some interesting paranormal, strange, unexplainable experiences throughout my whole life. Uh, but the synchronicities really picked up. Like, I'm really into Jungian philosophy. Jungian psychology, Hermetic philosophy, um, and alchemy and stuff like that, which reminds me, I'm sharing this with people because I'm hoping to have some conversations with some further people. And yes, I'm starting my own show, but um, if you are curious, I did become a co-host on a podcast, which I recently cut ties with the people involved. It was called Black Hoodie Alchemy. I was originally on episode 67, which was titled Addiction, Trauma, and Spirituality, which I guess is my forte. But then I eventually became a co-host of the show from episodes like 84 to 106. And some, I'll just say we grew apart in different directions. I'm not ready to share what happened with that yet, but by quitting and parting ways with those people in the way that I did, I, in some sense, shot myself in the foot, because although I'm not trying to do this to prop up my ego or get big, like I said, this is about a message that speaks to a greater number of people for a deeper purpose, planting seeds of remembrance and awakening. Because essentially we're at a time right now where we're seeing the results of quite the social experiment in America, different iterations, but Yuri Bezmenov had this idea about to re-educate an entire population, you need essentially 3 or 4 generations. And we're the resulting factor of something along the lines of that. Clearly, here in America, the way we're living is not sustainable. Everything's corrupt. It's a sick society. If you think this is a sane way of living, you're insane. Um, I don't hate America, but it's been in a cradle of corruption, you could say. But times are changing. The stars up above, the heavens up above do play a huge role in what's going on here. I can tell you that much. And part of the whole personal mythology in the Christ bearer. Again, I'm not claiming, if you're small-minded enough to think, the dude thinks he's Jesus Christ, you dumbass. This is not for you. If you understand the idea of archetypes and even just the idea of what the ancients thought of as gods, not as people, but as ideals. Egyptian netters, they were ideals and traits, characteristics to strive for that embody and are inherent within the nature of the makeup of our reality and existence and emotional spectrum. Sorry, we're just buzzing off the heart from here. And I know I can scramble all over the place. That'll happen when you have ADHD, bipolar, brain damage. I ain't into diagnoses like that because, again, I'm not a victim. Even with all that's happened to me throughout my life, I don't see myself as a victim. We can choose to look at everything happening to us or for us. If we look at things in life as happening to us, we see ourselves as a victim and we are less able to heal. If we see everything, especially in hindsight, happening for us, we can see them as lessons and receive the blessings within those lessons, hopefully, in hindsight, because sometimes it's too heavy amidst the lesson to really see it. Sometimes you're like, why is the universe against me, dude? Why does everything feel like it's stacked against me? It all happened for you to learn and grow, because what I believe, the Creator will not hand anything to you in your path that you are not capable of handling, or your karmic higher self, some higher aspect of yourself that maybe potentially signed up to be here. We consider these things. We consider a lot of things. Nothing's off the table, really. I've been open to just about looking into anything and listening to everyone's perspective and trying to consider both sides of the coin, because all truths are but half truths after all. So to try and be able to understand both good and evil, as an example, like being able to empathize and understand the psychology of my abuser as a child, or any child abusers. They say hurt people. I get that, but that's not gonna, that don't suffice no more. That ain't gonna continue to cut it. That's why we're gonna start planting the seeds now to try and reconnect the human spirit. And maybe 3, 4, 5 generations down the line, if we're still around, people will, the unity consciousness, the Christ consciousness will be more well integrated and deeply incorporated into the spirit. We're going this one way with technology and AI. There's a good and a bad side to everything. I'm not very tech savvy just because I'm kind of stupid with this stuff. So I'm barely on, I'm on YouTube and Instagram, and I know I kind of limit myself by not getting on more platforms, but each time I do it, it's just like replugging back into the matrix, and I'm trying to, I don't know, it's all about balance. But so I guess that's part of why I'm asking for help. Like, I know I might have just rambled a bunch, but um, we're healing, and I have a great message of healing and hope for those that are struggling and lost and feel a deep spiritual nature and know that there's something weird going on here, but are really lost. Like, I don't have the answers. Nobody does. But I definitely have reached a point where I'm being urged to share a lot of what I've learned. Here on with anyone who's open to listening. I know I'm helping some people, connecting with people. Like, got buddy Gavin in Ireland. Like, happy birthday, man! Glad you made it 44. Connecting about like addiction and struggling with that stuff, and because I've had so many people and videos on YouTube or online reach me at a certain time in my life where it was just like it impacted me so hard. So I know there's a power and potential for these videos to reach who they're meant to. And, um, you know, again, I don't got many numbers. Most people look at your small numbers and be like, oh, that dude must suck. His content must suck, clearly. But dude, you want to give the underdog a chance, yo. We can kick it serious, like I said, raw, authentic, and got a lot of, like I said, I'm open to a lot of things. I find myself drawn to the shamanic ways and mystic traditions and a lot of fun psychonaut stories. Yeah, we're cleaning up from that dope demon, that fentanyl, that xylazine. That stuff's no good. Kill my mom. She was a twisted lady, but I do miss her. Rest in peace. Hey, I love y'all's. Consider helping your friend out. Much love.